It's time for the big game in the Big Easy. Do you have a nickname at all that starts with big?
I don't know. People call me Big Bill.
With Big Bill.
Doing a good nickname. Flapjacks. That's me.
Ariel Osterman, Doug Maurice, Bill Landis. Disclaimer. Ohio State can win this game against Alabama. Two great coaches. Very good talent on both sides. Intangible things happening for both teams. Ohio State can win. Now we're going to make our picks, but nobody here thinks that this is, of course they're going to lose. There's a lot of people picking Alabama. I don't think that's the vibe. We want you to know that's not the vibe. Ari, what's your pick?
My nickname is Buckets because I get buckets. Confirm that that's good. Okay, my name's Ari. I agree. I think that Ohio State can win. I think there's a chance that in the fourth quarter they will have the ball with a chance to win the game. That's my prediction, but I am also going to err on the side of there's just too much for me to. There's too much physical evidence for me to pick against, to pick in favor of Alabama. And the thing that people are saying about Ohio State is it's a team of destiny and everything seems to be going right no matter what happens to them. They're Noah Spence and their quarterbacks and all that stuff. I don't really buy that stuff. I don't get into it. The one thing I will say is that I'm rambling a little bit. I'm sorry for that. Ohio State has been involved in two high-profile games the last 15 years where one of the teams in a game of this magnitude is a huge underdog. In 2002, Ohio State beat Miami. They were the underdog. 4 years later, in 2006, played Florida. They were also a heavy favorite, and then Florida won by a lot. So the stage is setting up like that. I just don't think that Ohio State is going to be relying only on destiny. There's too much to overcome. They're facing a team that has more talent than them on both sides of the ball for the first time in the Urban Meyer era. It's hard to rely on Cardale Jones as the savior. I just think that Alabama is the better team right now. So
and your score?
My score is 44-34.
I'm going to say Alabama 28-17. I think if J.T. Barrett was playing, it could be a different situation for Ohio State. I think all other things being equal, one team's playing a third-string quarterback and one team is playing its starting quarterback. Blake Sims is pretty good. He does, Ohio State, when they've played some really good running backs this year, played teams that had basically nobody at quarterback. Ohio State played its best games against its best opponents this year, Michigan State and Wisconsin. If Ohio State plays like that, they're in the game. Now, the difference is it doesn't mean they're going to win. It means they're right there with Alabama if they play the way they did against Michigan State and Wisconsin. But this is also the team that struggled with Michigan and Indiana. And I know Alabama struggled too. Alabama almost lost to Arkansas. Alabama had a close game with Mississippi State. They have had close games too. Ohio State has to be at its best to have a chance. I just think the third-string quarterback thing, everything else, I think Ohio State can, spread the ball to the perimeter, try to stretch out the defense, but I don't think the holes up the middle are going to be there for Ezekiel Elliott against this Alabama defensive line like they were against Wisconsin. It's a lot to ask. They have to be at their best to have a chance, and I think they could be close to their best and still lose by 11. I'm saying 28-17 Alabama.
Yeah, I agree with everything both of you guys said. The thing that kind of separated it for me, and I went back and forth on it all week and made up my mind today, is there's a difference between...
Where'd you make up your mind?
Oh, I was in the bathtub. It was great. He showed me how to take a bath.
They're staying in the same room. I'm staying in a different room. Continue.
Anyway, now that you have that visual, the thing that separated for me was the fact that I think the talent is comparable, but the difference for me is in the depth. Are you okay? Need a minute?
I'm not sure
Visual. Go ahead.
It's all right. We weren't in this. No, I'm going to leave it alone. The depth for Alabama, to me, separates it. They talked about T.J. Yeldon being hurt. T.J. Yeldon is a credible running back. Comparable, I think, with like a Melvin Gordon or a Tevin Coleman. He's that good. He's banged up. And under normal circumstances, that's great news for Ohio State, except for the fact that Alabama also has Derrick Henry and Justin Fowler and Tyron Jones, who are all four-star guys, ranked top 10 in their class, and they were recruited. The receivers, other than Amari Cooper, are DeAndre White and Christian Jones. You're looking at me like I'm a psychopath.
No.
The depth on both sides of the ball is too much in my mind for Ohio State. I don't think that it's a blowout. I think the depth is what separates it, keeps it a touchdown, 10-point game. My score is 31-24 Alabama.
31-24.
One number that I want everybody to know in comparison, or in conjunction to what he just said, is when you talk about depth and talent, we're not just making that up because Alabama's good on paper. We look at the recruiting numbers. I've written about this the last few weeks. They've signed about the same number of prospects during the last 3 years. Ohio State has one more 4-star prospect than Alabama, but Alabama, I believe, has signed 11 more 5-star prospects. And I believe that is a very drastic difference because the elite talents and the ones that hit are program-defining players. Alabama has a track record for developing those players, and just, to me, that is a huge, huge difference.
So I have Alabama by 11, you have Alabama by 7, and you have Alabama by 10.
And I didn't say this. I think Ohio State, like I said in the opener, has a chance to win the game in the fourth. I think Alabama scores a late touchdown to get up 10.
Line's still 9.5, right?
Yep.
All right, thanks for following along all year. If Ohio State loses, then this is kind of it, although we're going to have signing day coverage and all kinds of follow-up stuff to this very good season for Ohio State, no matter what happens on Thursday night. If Ohio State wins, that means we're all wrong, which is nothing new, and we'll be seeing you a lot between now and Dallas on January 12th. So, for Bill Landis, for Ari Wasserman, I'm Doug Lesmerises. Thanks as always for watching here on cleveland.com.